Bring it on. Love to see that here. Canada, man. Italy best be careful. They have no qualms with breaking their spaghetti and then boiling it in the salty tears of the Italians. Guys, getting into these P's and B's here. What do we expect? What do we hope? What do we fear?
I'm just going to come with it for the draft. Like, same as always, I'm expecting Zinx to be banned. I will be surprised if anyone would let it go through pick, like to be picked. So
I'm more on the side of the Richter being banned. I mean, especially when it comes down to it, Mugi touched on it earlier on in the day. That slight buff that he got just merely makes him impactful. Zinx, I feel like she's more of like a phase, more of like a backline support. You kind of take her out of the fight. There's still some counterplay towards her. Richter, nonetheless, he hits a hook. You're still basing it off of the player itself, not you really countering it.
It's gonna be the Zarus pick. Haven't seen that for quite some time. Zinx is indeed picked up there by Canada, followed up by the Steel. Argus and Zarus on their side. Rampage, talked about before at the desk. Didn't get to quite see it grace the field, and now we are. Kant, how you feel about that?
Like, Rampage, always good. Always that big boy in your face, and with that big rocker. I love it. With the Steel, that's just CC for days. They just need a proper backline behind that.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that team, Canada right now, they do have the two big bodies there ready to go. They took the Richter out, Severok's out of the game as well. I mean, right now they have pretty much the beef that they need to cook on up this nice fat steak, but it's going to be coming out to their last two picks. A lot of powerhouses, and the side of Italy, though, looks a little sketchy. We know Zarus is a strong hero when it comes down to his ultimate. Argus and Drongo as well, but looking at them as a comp right now doesn't really synergize as much as Team Canada.
Sometimes people kind of lose the grander picture. They get too tunnel visioned in on some good individual picks and don't focus on how they all mesh together. You need to make sure that you build up your roux before you add your cheese to make a nice dish. Decker, taken away. That's not an agreement we're going to be seeing here to the recipe of Italy. And Kira, banned away on their side to counter right back, and that leaves them open picks here. What are we expecting to see? It's a Quang once again gracing the battlefield, this time though for Italy.
Yeah, like Quang and Zarus, I feel like they always work pretty well together. You can just dive in the backline, just delete it because you deal that much damage. Sure, I feel like Canada has the ingredients to stop it, especially now with a Murdoch and Howitzer that can somewhat protect themselves too.
Yeah, I mean, Argus has that self-peel a lot of the time. Strongo has the Shrapnel Blast to just be able to kind of back away from a lot of things. But it's going to come down to cooldowns as well. Quang and Zarus are going to be pushing towards the enemy backline. So there's not going to be a lot of threat to help out Drongo and Argus unless they pick up somebody that's going to be able to help onto that backline under the support role. But the Murdoch, I love this pick. I've talked about Murdoch before. I think he's a very consistent carry. Fits in pretty much everywhere any type of team comp. I mean, he's not the best, like I said, in all team comps. He's not the worst as well. He's always just kind of in that middle, and that long arm of the law coming into a lot of these team fights, especially early on, to be able to kind of just shoot your ultimate over into the offlane, help pick up a kill is really going to go a long way.
I think going a middle ground pick here like a Murdoch isn't a bad shot here for your first game. You're feeling it out. You have some games to play with. It's not a best of one. You've got a best of three. So we have some experimentation room. We can afford, we obviously don't want to, take some hits here in this first game and note those things down, get some data for the rest of the set. It's Howitzer Muriel locked in here for each side. It's completing our comps. Guys, just looking at what we see here for each side, what's the game plan here of Canada?
Of Canada, well, you just use Steel and Rampage. You have a wall. Rampage can dive backline, can maybe get on Drongo, box him out of the fight, and then you have Murdoch, Howitzer deal out that damage, and you just win it that way. Whilst Italy will try to counter that, they have this Quang, the Zaras that will try to skip past the Steel, skip past the Rampage. And with Muriel's support with that Reversal of Fortune, can just delete Canada if they get that amazing engage.
I mean, like you said, Italy, you're going to be using Zarus and Quang, dive into that backline. Maybe they're grouped up inside the cage. Reversal of Fortune are coming on top. Hopefully, Drung and Argus are nearby enough to be able to facilitate that damage, burst them down. Argus is good at that, able to use his Obliterate from 60 miles away. But at the same time, for Team Canada, they have a nice big beefy front wall. The Zinx again to be thrown into there. getting 2 rampages or 2 steals is not a good look for the enemy team. You put a lot of resources in killing these bigger, tankier guys. That now, Bazing's ultim, you kind of run out of all those resources, and then that's when Murdoch and Howitzer come in play, still being able to burst down to people that don't have that chance of a second life.
The beef is certainly going to be useful, but will that Canadian bacon be enough to fill up Italy and bully them back to their side of the hemisphere? Only one way to find out, Lados. Before we get into the cast here, just 3 words or less. Who wins? Why?
50-50. I like them both.
I'm going to go Canada. Maple syrup.
Ooh, sweet and simple. I like it. And with that, we're going to get right into the cast. Not going to leave it for anything else. Flannel friends, take it away. TJ, DJ, and F6, bring it on.
Thank you so much, Dilo, and delighted to welcome F6 to the Flannel Friends crew as well. I just knew that when he saw kind of the color scheme we had going here, it was like, I got a flannel shirt. I know exactly what I'm bringing. 6, it feels like it's been a while since we've shared the casting desk together. I'm looking forward to this one, and Canada versus Italy, a pretty even matchup. It's got all the makings of a good, great best-of-3 series.
I think it's going to be great. Like I said on the desk, I think both of these teams are equal at like when it comes towards skill based off of groups, how they're playing. Obviously, we've had some time in between, but if we have to go off anything, we have to go off history, off of what we see analytics. And I think it's going to be a good series going in. I think this does go to a Game 3 series. I do think the coin flip is going to play a big part into it. But like we said, try not to blame ping, just play better and use that into momentum.
And I think that's a very important point that you mentioned, right? Is that sure, ping has its place in the argument when we're talking about the intricates, like kind of the mechanical points here. But ping doesn't make you go for bad rotations. Ping does not make you go for bad calls, right? You could probably blame a bit of brain lag, but that's not game lag, if you know what I mean. And I think there's a very interesting dynamic here between these two teams because Canada, this S tier team, when we made the seedings, was like, it's Dirt Lake and the boys plus Blob, right? This is going to be a great team. They get absolutely steamrolled in the first game. Italy comes in, I think they were a B tier or an A tier. They came in as the underdogs and they topped their groups here. So we have the overperformers versus the underperformers. And I really like that as a matchup.
I mean, this is what you ask for inside of these tournaments, right? You're trying to see the underdogs prevail over these top teams. You're expecting a lot from them, and then here comes the guy digging out from the ground, picking themselves up, dusting himself off, and trying to get themselves that championship. And that's what we're seeing out of Team Italy here today as they fight for their right to move on to the semis to potentially get themselves in the finals.
Fighting for their right to party as well. Looks like we're not going to get any shenanigans. Although, granted, I think maybe we had our kind of the weekend quota of shenanigans and nonsense from the series that we just watched between Germany Gold and USA as well. And I could tell that flag has been freshly prepared as well on the back of your background as well. But of course, that was in the past. We have another good series to watch out for. I mean, looking at these players, you spoke about the composition, you spoke about how well they work together. What do you think is going to be the crucial linchpin? Where do our eyes naturally look for when we talk about the matchups and who's going to have that impact?
The biggest thing we want to point out is who's in that jungle. Zarus and Quan could have been flip-flopped either way. Zarus inside the jungle, he's a very strong jungler when it comes down to how he's able to facilitate throughout these lanes. I mean, the Howitzer, we're trying to figure out who he's going to target, and looking at it, looks like that dual lane's going to be his best picked overall. The steal is a little bit too tanky to really go after and hard to kill, a lot of CC. Howitzer has the make it rain, has the how we boop to really create some space between both of these characters. So that dual lane is going to be his target, and the Murdoch has to use the flash, the Zinx has to use the flash. Not bleed over into these other lanes.
And let's talk about the duo lane as well, because I think there are two prevailing storylines that have just come from the quarterfinals matchup. Is that, Fjorsan playing this Muriel, this pick that we did see Junior play in the last series. That Muriel, which we were expecting to have value and impact, just wasn't finding it at all. Even seeing Lakehazer play a Murdoch, this pick, as you say, consistent hitting their shots, but just not finding impacts on this matchup here. So let's talk a little bit more about that duo lane in a bit more detail.
When you're looking at it, that Zinx and that Murdoch, they have a lot of just damage just to be able to outplay this Muriel. Muriel has those shields that kind of go away after kind of your engagement, using a lot of mana. This Zinx did get a little bit of an update towards her mana. She also did struggle before that with her mana. But if you're just able to get that chain CC off with that ricochet stun, this allows for so much potential burst damage, able to place a trap underneath them, keep them in one place for a long time. But we're going to have to take a pause on that because LAB are very out of position here.
Oh, he's so far pushed up in his lane. Teva's not going to find the marquee. Bull rushes, trying to use the minions to his advantage, trying to get some damage back. But unfortunately, Loba, my friend, that's not a matchup you win. First blood goes the way of Lafere on that the Italy offlane.
Italy, starting off strong. Like I said, they are a good team. I think they are evenly matched, and that is why they're very smart play. LAB being a little bit overextended. One of the very weaknesses, he does not have a lot, but the only weakness I really see on LAB's gameplay is him being a little bit more overextended than he needs to be at times, or a little bit more aggressive, and they're able to punish that on the side of Team Italy. Another thing we saw was Dodo already rotating towards that lane, using the Argus to pressure out the mid, outclear the Howie, and get himself to start and try and impact these other lanes that are already 4 minutes in.
No, a bunch of you in the chat wanted to see Dark Dodo playing that Argus as well, which had an absolute lights out performance in the group stages here as well, and just getting to showcase it against one of the S-tier teams as well. Just hovering over Appy Picker as well. One of these picks I'm surprised we haven't seen more of. It felt like the group stages were almost defined by that holy trinity, Decker, Argus, Rampage. Whoever had more of those three just kind of won the game. But for now, things seem to have changed a little bit since our last group stage. Where's the King of the Jungle gone?
I mean, he's still there. It's just there's a lot of tools now able to really burn him down. Infernum got a slight buff, Basilisk as well, and he's not allowed to be as tanky as before. So these small little changes, even with his just items, kind of goes and helps out there. But here he comes to look to try and pay back the surprise inside the offlane.
There's the blink going to be utilized, but Appy Picker does not lead with the boulder toss, seeing that that was a gank purely to burn the blink rather than to try and overforce a kill on the right-hand side. Seeing Conte on that Zarus, maybe trying to make a move towards the mid lane, hovering behind the back left shadow curtain. That's El Diablo here, which I believe is going to be Blob. Has to be a bit careful of when he rows back into his lane. Conte playing this so patiently as well. Does Blob have that spidey sense to know that that side is going to be in danger as Conte's going to move forward. The Dreadnova connects, but unfortunately that landmine does buy a bit of distance, a bit more damage on towards Blob, but the Howitzer stands strong, keeps his blink intact, and Conte's gank might have been a bit of a waste of time.
Not necessarily a waste of time when it comes to trying and letting the mental pressure be there. You saw Blob take a couple peeks over that fog wall. He just kind of felt it, sensed it. And I mean, just being able to pop out and just being aggressive inside that T1 just lets the Howitzer know, hey, you should be expecting me here more and more. And if that level 6 was there, that Coliseum was up, it would have been a different time for that Howitzer in the mid lane. But nonetheless, though, it did waste time, get a little bit more farm for Appy Picker on Rampage to be able to catch up in that aspect, fighting for that level 2 smite, that big smite to really try and change the game early on between these junglers.
Saying that Conte might have lost a little bit of tempo because he was behind that shadow curtain for quite a substantial amount of time as well. He just completes the reset back into his blue side jungle. Both junglers are on this right hand side of the map here, and blinks are down on this Kwang. Has got to be careful. Appy Picker this time has got the boulder toss. Shield slam straight in towards the boulder. There's the stun into the bull rush. Teva does land, but Lafire's got it all to do. He's going to hit that blessed flower. Maybe gets him to safety, but unfortunately, it takes Appy Picker with him as well. The Kwang is down. Canada even things up on the right hand side of the map.
One of the greatest things about that gank right there is coming out of how they play together. LAB and Appy have been playing together for a while now, and they chained their CC. A lot of times you see these team members just kind of throw all their CC at once. He waited for the rock. They waited for the dash. Steel was able to get close on and use that shield slam. They waited a second, hit him with the rock, and just kept going on with that. But look at Appy Picker again, making his presence known.
Bit of a gang, bit of a collapse on his left-hand side. That Behemoth is popped, and this is a 3 versus 2. But Conte, the Colosseum, strikes onto 3 members. It's a good blink away, but not good enough as Dark Dodo gets that first kill. And now it's Happy Picker having to retreat, having to burn his own blink to get away. But Conte's on the hunt. Conte's looking for a Spear of Near Execute. There's just enough damage, enough to keep Happy Picker to safety. Blub rotated over from the mid lane as well, but the damage already done. Italy starts to get that kill lead.
Only getting back in there, we thought that was going to be a very fruitful gank, but the wave wasn't pushed up underneath that tower, so that allowed for the dual lane to go ahead and help with that red side invade. Even though they did have the early gank, Behemoth was popped, but the damage just not quite there yet. Very low mana on the side of Team Canada, and they're just able to fault out there, but good rotation coming out of Team Italy to really capitalize on that mistake.
Well, for now, it's just both of these teams starting to jockey for position. We can already see a bit of the intention, a bit of the movement coming out here. Junglers getting impact, having that impact, what we were expecting from both of them as well. It seems to me that, both junglers have had successes and also not found successes. So just in the opening 9 minutes, F6, who do you think's had the better jungle starts?
I think it's pretty tied right now. We've seen the impact Rampage has made. We've seen him already, look at this, making an aggressive play towards that Fangtooth. He's where he needs to be on the side of Conte. We've only really seen a good gank over towards the off lane early on. The secondary gank towards the mid lane took a little bit longer time. Yes, they did clean up a kill, but that first Fangtooth shows the priority that they have inside the jungle with that Rampage.
Well, Conte not very happy about that one. Maybe it was the pasta breaking comment, or maybe it was the fact that his Fangtooth has been taken and there was no contest from Italy for that one. Potential of the solo. Bolo on the right-hand side as Alfieri taking a bit of the pressure from Lorba on that steal, starting to get the better of that matchup. Conte interrupts the recall of Happy Picker. To get some damage down. His dual lane is currently stuck underneath the tier 1 tower, and Conte is just going to force Happy Picker back, trying to delay, trying to buy some time. But the Cappy solo kills Toasty, and Conte is still here. Pull the toss is going to land, but he's in a minion wave. But here comes that reversal of fortune. Happy Picker pops the Behemoth in response, and that is enough for both junglers to back away, but the damage was done.
Great ultimate. They're able to just push on in. I want to say Flasan is able to use the shield to mitigate the damage from the turret shot. One shot was enough for that shield to take the damage off, and Kappa was able to secure with the bleed, with the shrapnel blast, just to be able to get out of that space. But great pickup on that, and Team Italy keeping up that pressure, and Conte getting aggressive inside the enemy blue jungle there is really what caused that commotion to go on.
And so, this is what I like about seeing Conte. I've had the pleasure of casting his games, be it with Team Immune, be it with Team Italy as well. He just seems to be having that important trait as a jungler, coming over from Overprime into Predecessor, while being in the right place at the right time. And it's so important for this matchup as well. He's just basically been shadowing Happy Picker, who has also, I should say, been making the plays. Has had a pretty solid start to this game as well. But it feels that this game still lies in a bit of equilibrium. Neither team really finding that crucial team fight victory. It's just been some isolated skirmishes that, granted, Italy have been getting the better of. Happy Picker going for the gank on towards Alfieri. The boulder toss is gonna land, combining with Lorba, and Alfieri's seen this one before, but it has a blink this time. He's able to utilize it, but the mini prime might be taken, but that means Lakeinator stuck on his lonesome. Kappa the Cappy gets the kill, and the Colosseum will not be stacked, but there is a response. Mini prime will be secured on the right-hand side by Team Canada.
And they do get the kill on Lakeinator there, but the T1 is going to be falling as well for them. So that's a good little economy going towards their side. And I mean, but at the same time, we trade that out for Mini Prime and then Blink on the Quang on the opposite side of the map. What this does is give Lauber the opportunity to get pressure into this lane. He's already winning this lane, and now that he has this mini orb prime, he's going to be able to further get the advantage to take down that T1 over on the solo lane. And once Lauber starts to rotate, we talked about how aggressive he can be, how aggressive he usually is. And when he starts to rotate with this Team Canada, Toasty said it best, with him, they win games. Without him, they lose.
Well, I think so important as we see a little bit of those exchanges, as you say, with Laura and Appy Picker playing on the same roster, is that once again, this is Dirty Lake and the boys plus Blob. This is a PCC championship winning team here. They have got a championship under their belts and they've made it to the finals on their last 3 attempts here. Definitely no pushovers for sure. And I think maybe that is enough. And certainly why Canada was seen as one of the top tier teams in this one here. But so far, Italy have been having the better start of things, 4 kills to 1. Approaching that mid game, we have got a Fangtooth spawning in about 2 minutes. The mini prime still going to be a little bit of a ways off here. Conte been aggressive there. Might be to his own detriment here as Appy Picker and Blob starting to get some damage down. Conte down to half HP. It's a big grouping up here from Italy. Looks like they want this tier 1 tower, and Canada will respond in kind, moving members towards the mid lane.
They do have that kill lead, don't get me wrong, TJ, but when it comes down to the objectives, they have both of them already. So the economy shift is not too big as it seems right on the screen. So they do still have themselves inside this game. I still think it's pretty evenly matched, but you can see how Team Italy, how their conversion, their awareness, and they're able to just play as a team when it comes down to trying getting something potentially out of any type of gameplay with content.
Maybe this right-hand side might be the difference here. Loba with that mini prime buff, able to take 1 wave under the tower, get some damage here. Loba's going to try and get away from the gank. That's a shield slam to try to use defensively. There's the blink as well. Slapsing obliterates coming in from left field. Third shot comes through. Conte Spear of Near gets the kill. Italy 5 kills to 1 on the right-hand side. And Dark Dodo makes the rotation, but look towards your mini-map. Team Canada already prio over that Fangtooth.
One of the things that we were talking about, them just being able to capitalize in it. They're great rotation over there inside of the off lane, but what are you giving up? You're giving up another neutral objective. This is going to be the second Fangtooth, the third neutral objective towards a team Canada, and it's going to be a rough time. But with this, look at that rotation. They're not going to be able to get anything out of this. A lot of resources already spent, and they should be able to get out scot-free.
Still on the hunt for more. That Dreadnova hit onto 3 members. Unfortunately fortunately for your side on Dawn, the rest of Team Italy weren't there to capitalize. Could have been quite the engage from the side of Team Italy, but I like what you're saying there, F6 as well, with just more objectives being conceded. So at some point, Italy have got to actually turn up to these objective fights, right? They can't keep conceding objectives. Granted, they're finding trades, they're finding kills, they're finding movements here, but Canada seems to be translating that into hard-earned gold here. And as you say, even though in a kill deficit, objectives are the ones that actually win you games.
I mean, this is a MOBA, right? This isn't Call of Duty. I mean, yeah, you're going to have the kill lead, but we need to be able to play this game strategically. And at the end of the day, these neutral objectives are really what helps you win these games, really what helps you succeed into that late game, and potentially win the game overall. And if Team Italy doesn't start to contest these neutral objectives, it's going to be a rough time whenever they try and get those big objectives.
Well, this might be the start here. Getting a pick into the CC chain that Team Italy provide. Appy Picker is down, and the mini prime might be available on the right-hand side. Capo de Cafe has the reverse of fortune on top. It's 2 versus 2 between Lake and Toasty and Capo and Fjorson, but the blink is going to be expended by Capo to get back to his tier 1 tower. So Lake and Toasty find a little bit of a victory here. They're feeling pretty confident here. Looks like they have not had any attention much towards the left-hand side, but in the mid lane, no, it is El Diablo. It is Blob getting a solo bolo kill onto the Dark Dodo's Argus.
Being able to pick up that solo bolo mid is huge, but here comes Conte trying to answer back, but there's that ricochet shot, but the blink!
Colosseum comes down, but another blink in kind coming out from Toasty. Able to get away, still got that neuroregenesis, looking to lock it down on towards Lakenator, goes for the blink himself, keeps himself alive. That ultimate's not been utilized just yet, but double blinks down in the dual lane, an opportunity inside of Team Italy to pounce soon up on that left-hand side.
And this is what we expected out of Conte, right? To be able to pressure this dual lane, the only way to escape is through that blink, and they got double blink out of 1 rotation. Yes, Conte used his blink, but he has a lot of mobility to catch up if they're ever slipping or too push far ahead. The one thing I do want to highlight was the vision control that they had on that side of the map. When it comes down to Team Italy, they had the entire jungle warded on that blue side, and that's warranted with that T1 takeaway early on into the game. So they are able to keep up here. They have a lot of information. And I think both teams right now are really just kind of fighting to really play their game. Team Canada playing more of that slow, we're going to take these neutral objectives. Team Italy is like, hey, we want to try and beat these guys by getting to their mentals, just immediately ganking them all over the place, being able to try and get those advantages through those picks.
A very important aspect of the best of three is sometimes your worst enemy can be your mind, especially when another team is able to start moving in and living rent-free in it. These best of three series are not a sprint, it's a marathon here. As an isolate is a 1v1 as both ultimates utilize Alarm Law and the shrapnel cannon, but both ADCs are alive. Toasty with the ricochet bookshot just misses, and Capo, he's bleeding, he's limping, but he's still alive from that fight on the left hand side. Fjorson is here to give him the shield. That will be enough for Lake and Toasty to take down and answer back with a tier 1 tower in left.
I don't know how he survived that, and I don't know how Lawler is going to survive this. Howitzer's trying to rotate here, but Big Man Steel's losing health.
Shield slam just to get a bit of distance, but doesn't find a knockup, doesn't find the distance he was looking for. He's going to get enough distance back to his spawn room. Gives an opportunity now for Team Italy to actually get their first neutral of the game with the mini prime, but to look towards your mini map, even though they have a numbers disadvantage. But even though Conte doesn't care, Toasty gets stacked in that ultimate and immediately back towards the mini prime. But Conte is low, and it might be enough for Italy to have to back away. Blob is on the hunt, wants to find an R2000, but Italy are able to scatter to the winds.
Big play there coming out of Team Canada. Yes, they lost Toasty, but what they also did was time the backing of Team Italy here. Zaris has to back here. Kwang still needs to back. So does Dodo. And Capo's not looking too healthy himself. And with this third Fangtooth being able to spawn here, they might catch them off guard, because we can see Steel rotating in, and he's going to be a big factor in whether or not they're going to be able to take this.
Takes the blast flower. Conte is marshaled away from the Fangtooth, and that's going to be Canada getting away. They engage the fight on towards Kappa, trying to take down that Drongo, and it looks like they will find it, but the reversal is a huge knock-up in the mouth of the pit, and Team Italy with all the CC, with all the lockdown to find the pick. The Regenesis gets Abby Picker alive into the make it rain to find the damage, but the health bars aren't dropping enough, and Italy grouping together, safety in numbers, taking apart, picking this Team Canada team apart one by one. They found 3 kills. Lorba bull rushes to safety, but the damage has already been done.
A lot of damage there, but they need to watch out for Blob. Blob caught split pushing out on the other side of the map. Once they saw that he was over there, this allowed for them to initiate there. They're like, they don't have a significant damage dealer other than Lakenator there, and that is how they're able to win that fight. And that's how they're going to be able to win themselves a Fangtooth to stop that 3 Fangtooth from being in effect.
You know what it was? I saw Appy Picker being the target of the Neurogenesis, and I'm still thinking it's Appy Picker on that howitzer, but how could I forget Blob was the one piloting that howitzer himself? But this is something that you brought up on the desk as well, is that Neurogenesis here. You can put so many resources into taking down these front lines, and Zinx just says, oh, how about round 2? Let's go and do it again.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the game-changing factor of that fight would have been if that howitzer was there. Yes, he got a tier 2, but I mean, at that point, you lost the 3rd Fangtooth. Rule number 1 of Predecessor is you always fight for that 3rd Fangtooth, whether it's to save your team from being on to the opposite end of that 3rd Fangtooth or being the ones with it. And Blub not being there was a huge mistake and a huge misposition coming out of Team Canada.
Well, as in Predecessor, it feels like a game of chess. You know, sometimes you have to give and take. Sometimes sacrifices have to be made for the greater good of your game plan here. I mean, Italy have been pioneering that win that early game, conceding so many neutral objectives, but now the team fights are starting to arrive, and it feels like Team Italy are finding their stride. Dodo does a bit of skeet shooting, taking down Blob on that howitzer pick. Alfieri's got to be careful, but Italy's got a blink and a jungle to run to safety as Team Italy able to escape on the right-hand side, but look towards the mid. Capo de Capi has taken out that damn pesky cats. No more resurrections. It's straight to your prime for Team Italy.
There's not a lot that they can do here. They do still have Appy Picker and Lauber, so it's still a 50-50 contestation with this both Smites up. Lakenator late on the rotation, but the damage is there. They don't have their damage dealer or their revive. What is it going to take?
Lakenator pumping in the damage, but they're taking down Appy Picker. Lorber tries to find value with the Shield Slam, combining with Lakenator, but the Long Arm of the Lord just doesn't do anything here. Buckshot through the wall is enough to finally take down Capo, but Lorber will be at the cost, and now Lakenator has got an opportunity to see his name up in lights here in a 1 versus 4 outside the All Prime pit, playing distraction duty. He's just hitting them shots, and he might have done enough here. Lakenator versus the world. Lakenator forces all of Team Italy to get away from his neutral objective.
What a play coming out of Team Canada there. The fact that Lorber was there was the game changer. Appy Picker was not able to do anything into that fight. He tried to get in there, but they just turned and fought him. But the real MVP there was going to be Lorber. He was able to sustain long enough, provide enough CC, cause enough commotion in that team fight to where they were running low on mana. The Or Prime being the 6th member of that fight to help them out with some damage, and they just thwart them away. And Lakenator just picking it off one auto at a time just caused them to run away scared.
The aura coming out of Lakenator right there, you could just kind of feel it here as Italy just had to respect as well, almost like that anime villain on the horizon. You could just sense that there is the true raid boss of this team on the horizon. But of course, Team Italy deciding not to fight up against Lakenator and back away. It means, of course, that the All Prime is still available for both teams to try and take, but there might be a bit of a spanner in the works on that left-hand side. Primal Fangtooth will be spawning in a matter of moments, presenting an interesting opportunity, seeing that Italy more than happy to concede objectives here. Might be interested in a trade, or might want to take it all here, 6. What are your thoughts on that?
I think they have the prime opportunity to do so. When it comes down to it, they finally got some neutral objectives, so it's a little bit more on the side of Italy with this 11 kill lead. We see what they can do. They see a lot of picks that they've been able to accomplish. It's going to come down to Team Canada being in the right position. It's going to come down to Team Italy to keep doing what they're doing, getting those picks, picking off Blood being out of mispositioned a lot of these different fights. And it's going to help them capitalize with the numbers advantage to possibly be able to get both these objectives.
With the grouping up, Italy still got eyes on this All Prime. They got Start Dodo and Conte towards the right hand side, trying to punish a Lorber here who doesn't have his blink, still has Shield Slash available to him. Lorber's not really caring about it because Appy Picker's arriving on the scene. Boulder Toss connects, a good evade by Conte, just get a bit of distance. Lorber's still causing problems. Dreadnova not going to find the mark. Toasty is here though. Members arriving. Italy can still call in the reversal of fortune. They don't have Capo. He is in that red side jungle at the moment here, and Team Canada going to pull the trigger. They have the momentum, they have enough knowledge to know that they can start this one up. Now it's up to Team Italy. What will they decide to do? Lorber's trying to zone away Alfieri on the right side, but he's going very low. So that's the Obliterator comes out. Lorber is just going to have to wait for the body blocks to come out, and it will be enough for Lorber down to 200 HP. And it looks like also the Neural Regenesis was used as well, but it's not been propped now. Appy Picker caught out. Alfieri hits a good tether. The Behemoth and the Razorback come out. Appy Picker leaps away using that enhanced jump to get some distance. A good 180 boulder toss onto Conte might be enough to dissuade any further aggression here. It's an incredible F6. All 5 members have walked out of this one alive.
Auburn was trying to just zone out 2 members on the backhand side, but unfortunate for him, it was the Kwong and Dodo on top of that Argus. There's a lot of damage they're able to output there with no sustainability. Argus being smart there, not using his 3rd shot to kill the Steel to allow him to revive, allow him to have that much HP back into his life. But as you can see, they're making their switch over towards this Fangtooth. Conte know that they might possibly make this switch able to rotate as well, but if they're not careful here, it might be a little bit rough because a lot of these members on both teams are scattered.
Ooh, Conte takes a huge chunk of damage as he tries to face tech those stairs here. And Team Canada, a bit of a set play. Look at how they're positioning behind these walls. I mean, hey, if USA could do it, so can we. But we don't exactly have a Faye and a Richter on our position. We just have a boatload of damage and a howitzer. Let's see what they can do. Slowmice come out. Alfieri looking for an angle, trying to flank. Maybe he can catch on towards Blob. He's able to move back. Toasty is here. Team Italy starting to move in towards the pit. Lakenator's down at his tier 2 towers. Italy have got Prio over the side of the map for now, and Team Canada gonna respect it. I'm liking the discipline here. No one getting caught out.
Yeah, that's what we need, right? We want these teams to make sure they're making the right calls, and they both are doing so. Team Italy, seeing that they have the advantage that Team Canada is pushing back, they try and control the vision on top of the Fangtooth. As you can see, there's multiple wards over there and on top of the Orb Prime. So they have total vision control here. Meanwhile, on the end of Canada, they're respecting it. They know they don't have that vision. They need to clear these wards and that they need to get themselves set back up to potentially fight any of these big objectives.
With every ward that's taken down, it's removing knowledge from Italy. And with Appy Picker removing the wards in the pit, they don't know if he started it or not. He's going to show in the river. So the core will come down now. Alfieri drops another ward, instantly dispatched by Appy Picker as well. Canada playing the fundamentals very well. They're still grouping up here. Neither team looking to move towards the objective itself, though. Both teams just in a bit of a standoff here, waiting for one to blink, waiting for one to make the move here. Both have got the long range. You can just think Dreadnova can start a fight. So can that Boulder Toss. So can the range as well. But a reset coming out here from Blub. If Italy know about this, it might be enough to pull the trigger. But it looks like everyone is reset because, hey, we've got some farm to take.
I mean, not more than that. There's right lane pushing up towards Team Italy right now, and somebody needs to answer that. And this might be the trigger because Muriel does show up. She does have that reversal of fortune, but at the same time, there's a huge minion wave for this Muriel to stop, and she's just taking damage here.
And that's the call. Canada going to pull the trigger. Appy Picker jumps into the Primal Fangtooth. It has so much more HP than a standard Fangtooth, so it will take a little bit longer, and Appy is the only one dealing with it. But he will eventually take it down. It's now up to Team Italy to decide what they want to do. Fjorson has eventually cleared that mini wave on the right side, but a reversal of fortune allows him to instantly rejoin the fight. He wants to go on to Conte, on towards Alfieri. Is he going to move forward? Appy Picker Behemoth going to jump down, shield smash on towards the two frontline members, but not the priority target. Is going to have to try and back away. Conte re-engaging the fight. Colosseum catches on towards Law with the long arm. The Law can't find any damage. Alfieri goes forward straight onto a stasis trap, and here's to make it rain, but it can't rain onto anyone's parade. Italy are bleeding. Italy are limping, but they are still alive. They're chased back in towards their red side jungle. Blub sees an opportunity, sees a chance to maybe get an exit frag, but Blub's got to be so careful because Dark Dodo is looming behind. Dreadnova cashes him out. Capo cashes in, takes down his howitzer. Primal Fangtooth still was being aggroed, and that's not the start that Canada were looking for. With Team Italy blinking Hellbot, you can hear that there's Lorba goes for the blink play, catches onto Capo. Lakenator bookshot. Lakenator gets two, and he's able to find the kills that he needs. Two down. Italy backed away. Canada started this Primal Fangtooth, and this will finally end this dance.
That was a weird dance. The initiation, Appy Picker, understanding he has the Zingster to be able to keep him healed up. They baited the Fangtooth pretty much with perfection. Great ultimate in, got the double shield slam knock up, and they were able to get a lot of damage off, but the howitzer not being able to get the kill. Blob got a little bit too greedy and tried to push himself in a bad position, and Dodo flanked to come around and change the sides, but Big Lake coming in with that Murdoch, just hitting auto after auto, and the damage he does right now is unreal.
Just able to combine so well with Lorba. That shield slam started the whole thing off, but just as we sing their praises, the Colosseum comes down. Lorba slams Conte out of the Colosseum and ends the Zara's. Appy re-engages with that Behemoth, wanting to get a pick on towards the Dark Dodo, but the Dreadnova fills him with the name. He's going to have to back away. Landmine comes out from Blob. And no way out. Team Canada starting to find the team fights, and with a Primal Fangtooth in their hearts ablaze, they're moving towards the purple buff. They want a double bubble buff.
Yeah, I mean, the plays there, they locked down the CC on top of the Muriel. She could not move. The just last hit on top of the Zaris. He tried to make an initiation, but was just not enough. And with those two picks, they're going after this big Orb Prime. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why they are Team Canada. This is DLAB playing their late game con.
It is the DLAB buff. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you put Blob in there. It just seems that you can never, ever truly count out this Canadian team from finding a team fight victory here. And that was a fight that Italy started. It was Conte looking for an opportunity, but he just Colosseumed onto Lorber, who just kind of like cinematically just booped him out of the air, stunned him up, and took him out. And Lakenator more than happy to provide that damage. And now Team Canada, 32 minutes in, the All Prime buff. Primal Fangtooth is on a few members, but not all. They're going to start to siege up here, getting a big control over this blue side of Team Italy.
What a fantastic game so far. We talked about how proficient this team is. Lauber, a big factor into this match, and now they siege on into this middle inhibitor. Not a lot that they can do. They have the double buffs. This Orb Prime is going to allow them to heal up. The Primordial Fangtooth is going to allow them to do a lot of damage. The thing going for Team Italy right now is the fact that they have these side lanes pushed on out, so there's a lot of damage that they can mitigate. But as for them getting that farm inside that red side jungle, that's not going to be there for you, Conte.
The wards are down, the flag has been planted, and this whole side of the jungle is just dripping in maple syrup. It's in complete control of Team Canada, as Conte is just going to survey the scene. There's just absolutely nothing left for him to take, and he looks like a very, very sad lizard right now. Team Canada moving in towards the left-hand side. Tier 2 tower on the dual lane, the last tower standing beside the Team Italy here. And you can imagine here that Team Italy are probably not going to put up too much of a contest. It's not really that important. Appy Picker going in, and Italy still sticking around. Appy Picker going aggressive. That tower does eventually fall. Colosseum comes down, trying to go for the re-engagement. Lorber's in the middle of it all. Appy Picker does eventually go down. The make it rain from Blob, the long-armed Lord. 2 ultimates come out, but no one from Italy drops. They go back to the fountain, they go back to the heal, and Team Canada have got the All Prime buff to heal them out of combat. This inhibitor will start to crumble, but now members of Team Italy are on their way. Lakenator takes 2 shots from the Cynatic Obliterator, and the heals from Tosi to keep him out. Now a full retreat, and it looks like Team Canada will get away cleanly.
I think Appy Picker dove inside that T2 there, hoping that the Zinc still had to rejuvenate, ready to go for him to be able to survive that. But a little bit of a miscommunication caused that push not to be as threat towards Italy as it could have been. Nonetheless, though, a great defense coming out of Team Italy to help them survive a little bit longer into this game.
I think we really have to highlight as well. I am loving Lorber's play on this steal, right? In the team fights, he is in the middle of it all. The CC, the lockdown. And it just feels like whenever Lorber goes in, the rest of the team is able to follow up here. Team Italy, they're getting well and truly DLAB'd here, honestly. It's quite fun to watch. They have the kill lead, 17 kills to 8. But right now, it is firmly in control of Team Canada.
And that's why we talked about it early on in the game, that Team Italy needs to get some more objectives. They need to start contesting. And a lot of this thrives from that early game, giving up those Fang Teeth, giving up those mini Orb Primes. It allows for the late game to be a real threat. And the fact that they're going to get the Primordial and make that number 3 allow for Team Canada to be able to do what they are doing now and being in such control over this map that Team Italy is struggling to really try and fight back to get into this game.
We've already had 1 steal today, with Ven for Germany Gold stealing an All Prime. Could Conte add himself to that list of EU junglers stealing objectives? Well, time will tell here, as we're potentially looking at another dance around another Primordial Fangtooth. Boulder Toss, not going to find a mark, just hitting onto that archway. Team Canada still fishing for that pick, but all of Team Italy, 4 members, Dark Dodo just pushing out that mid lane, trying to deal with it. Appy Picker goes into the Behemoth because they see an isolated Conte. Reversal of Fortune comes down, and knockup from Alfieri is clutched though. Appy Picker still taking damage, but the Behemoth tanking him up. So does the passive. Lorber pushing forward, still has shield slam available. He's going to go for the blink, going to go for the play. Alfieri blinks back, the wall comes down. Appy Picker jumps forward. Team Canada are just finding these picks as that Ether Crystal pulls Blob and Appy Picker back together. They do no longer have your prime buff available. Now Conte with the Colosseum looking to try and get the pick, but instant response from Blob with the Make It Rain, and that's Alfieri down. Lakenator finds the kill. Conte is too low. Conte is out of this fight and he is running. And Toasty knows this. If he can take it down, R2000 takes down the jungler, and Team Canada immediately swoop in and get their prize.
This is the late game Lobber Appy picker into Team Canada. They are destruction. They are a force to be reckoned with. And Conte getting too aggressive with that Coliseum in a 4v5 fight, especially against the Zinks, is not what you want to do. And they paid the price there, as Team Canada is now able to pick up their 4th Fangtooth and with the Primordial Blaze head towards the Tor Prime.
I mean, we can sing our praises of Team Canada here, how they've able to come back, how they're just playing off of, you know, the same hymn sheet, they're following up on each other. It just feels like they have a game plan and they're executing it well. You can see that innate team cohesion coming through. And hey, this is honestly the S-tier team that we were expecting when they're getting to this point. But granted, with 37 minutes into this game, it hasn't been all smooth sailing. But Italy, they were in a position to have a bit of control, and it feels like this whatever control they have is slipping like sand through their hands. Where has it all gone wrong for Italy?
It has all gone wrong. I'm going to say it again. It is from the neutral objective control in the early game. They allowed for Team Canada to play the game that they wanted to. They took the kill lead substantially, but were unable to use it to facilitate for the neutral objectives. They took a lot of fights on the opposite side of the map that these neutral objectives were up, and now this is why they're paying this price for it.
Picker, Behemoth going for the engage. Lorba's going to find a pick on towards Conte and Alfieri. Coliseum comes down, able to lock down 2 members, including Lorba. Alfieri's in the backline with the Fury of the Heavens, but so is Blub. Blub is going for an audacious flanking move, and he is taking names. Italy are in complete collapse as Team Canada leave their mark on the Sanctuary map. Conte, the last one alive, retreats back into his blue side jungle. There's nothing he can do to stop this team fight coming out of Team Canada. 38 minutes. It's not been pretty. It's not been clean, but that core is going down, and Team Canada are going to take game number 1.
Game number 1 taken away from Team Italy. The spaghetti has been snapped before it has been boiled. The pasta sauce has been replaced with ketchup as Team Canada takes game number 1.
Oh boy, an opportunity for all of us to catch our breath here as well. That game, honestly, I think the word I want to use to describe that game, F6, was intense, really. It just felt like both these teams were coiled springs at all points. They had so many avenues of engaging these fights and starting them, and they just kind of wanted to consistently go at each other. But then you had just the constant dancing around these objectives. That was just a beautiful game to watch. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I mean, you saw 2 different game styles being played there. You saw the full-on, we're going for kills, we're going to be getting bodies to hit the floor, and then you saw the long con. You're like, hey, we're going to slow roll it. DLAB's kind of game. Hey, we're going to play for these objectives. We're going to use it to win ourselves into this mid-late end game, and that's what they did. This will end up, when it comes down, Team Canada played the better game when it comes down to playing a MOBA with a little bit more strategy and a little bit more of a, hey, we have our game plan. We're going to stick with it no matter what happens, even if we're down maybe like 10 kills.
I really get the sense that that might be a bit of a frustrating loss, maybe a bit of a disappointing one. But honestly, I think there are still a lot of positives that Italy can take from that one as well. And I say maybe just cleaning up some of that neutral play. All of a sudden, game number 2, potentially game number 3 is on the horizon here, and this next game will be on NA servers as well, just to make it even more spicy for sure. I think me and F6, I'm going to take some more fluids. I actually think F6 can, because Ragnarok is back. We're going back to the desk for Dilo and Kant and Ragnarok to break down game number 1.
Wowee, would you look at that? Some beautiful work up here from our friends on NA all across the board. Game 1. Talk me through it, Khan. F6, what do we see?
Well, when I just looked at that game, that was just a beautiful macro game from Canada. It was just they had their vision on like what the end goal is. They never let go of that vision, and they just chugged it all the way there. It was just they were simply better at dancing around those neutral objectives. When it finally came down to it, they're just the better dancers in that game.
Yep, and you probably hear it from me again. They just, like you said, just took control of the neutral objectives. A lot of time, Team Italy was taking fights on the opposite side of the map, and that was their downfall. If they would have took those fights towards the side of where the objectives were and win those fights there, turn it over to the neutral objectives, I think they would have clean swept this game. And a big thing, I know a lot of people say ping, 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 but Canada said ding, ding, ding. That was round 1 on top of EU servers. Now they get to play on home field advantage.
It's a scary prospect to think about, that they're already kind of mollywopping without that advantage. And like I said, ping, it's not an obstacle. It's a ladder, and they're looking to climb to the very top. Beautiful work there by DLAB and the boys, just keeping that momentum going. If we can see that happen again, that macro play that was so pristine on this, boy, just imagine what it's going to be like on NA servers. Can Italy take the heat? Let's find out after the break. Don't you dare go anywhere. Game 2 coming at you in a bit. Bring it on. You heard it from the mouth or beak of Dodo themselves. Conte, what are you doing, buddy? Just carry more. It's really that simple. Clearly putting a lot of faith in their captain in jungle. Nice to see the subordinates all falling in line behind him, but it's only one man of a team of 5. You can only do so much here. As we get into the P's and B's here, guys, just getting into the nitty gritty. What are we expecting? What are we hoping? It's going to be a Sevarog ban for Italy.
Yeah, like, early game wise, I don't really see like a need for them to switch up the draft too much. I feel like they utilized what they had quite well early, and it was rather their positioning and the game plan going into the late game that was the main issue. And Canada stuff just worked out.
Well, yeah, I kind of agree with that. It's just the way that they played the draft. Several ban against Lober is good. Argus taken away from Dodo, his best pick by far. And that takes us to the Richter, which I think is going to be jungle for Conti. He likes the pick lately, and it is good, which allows the Zinx to go there and the steal.
Kind of answers a question of, what do you do when Conte needs to carry? You give him the Richter, and you let him have at it, Haas. Hopefully it's going to pay off big, because now you've let 2 big picks go on the other side as well. Zinx, who we've talked about being quite the problem. Steal as well. Decker going to be at least providing some lockdown to try to maybe stop that Pexi Zinx in her tracks. But I don't know. Is it worth giving up such a powerful pick such as the Zinx?
Well, if the commander shuts it down, maybe Hooker, or maybe like a chain stun, like Decker stun, and then a Richter pull to kill her, Isolator, and I see it working quite well. Just Zinx is, I feel she's just so good at the moment.
I mean, I would say they prioritize the Richter pick more, and I would say Decker is a bit sauce ping, but it's their best pick, best choice right now. I'm pairing up with the Drongo, the most impressive lane that we know. They're just trying to go for that push lane, but on ping, that's going to be tricky.
Gonna be even tricky when you got a Rampage staring you down, the big beefcake, now looking to try to make your life hell, trying to end this series with the quickness here. I mean, Italy've got a game plan. They're going to try to ignore that ping to some certain extent. Like we said, again, it's not just an obstacle, it's a challenge. It's something for you to defy, not to adopt a defeatist attitude for. Seems they're trying to go with that same logic, so I can appreciate that. Now as we look to see these final bans come in here, it's going to be the Fae, Kant is upset, and Italy now considering theirs.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to pick mid lane at some point, both of them, and oh, the Howitzer ban. I would actually... I guess that makes quite a lot of sense. It was quite good. But that doesn't leave that big of a pool for the mid lane for either team. It might be a chance that we'll see an ADC mid.
I don't know about the Howitzer. I feel like they had the tools to deal with the Howitzer. Obviously, they could not pick the Howitzer of their own, because the enemy team also has a Rampage to deal with it, and it might be oppressive. I don't know, maybe they just didn't want to deal with it again, but that opens a Grim pick. We haven't seen a lot. He's still a good character. And we'll see a Grim and Zinx lane into a Decker and Drongo. That would be interesting for sure.
Continuing this theme here of the Iggy and the Scorch falling on the side of the ping. Again, we're on NA servers, people. So, Italy trying to compensate just a little bit with their picks. Answer back. I mean, talking about picks, Appy Picker is such an efficient mid lane. Last time I was hosting here, I don't even think they were around. I think it was Lobber and Appy both had a day of the spa together. They weren't able to quite join us on the battlefield. And now that we're back, I don't blame for that Howitzer pick. Something that Appy is known to cause chaos on. Xeris can hopefully bring a bit of order to that, bringing in that Colosseum for the Gladiators to fight within.
Yeah, honestly, with the Xeris pick, might be the jungler on Xeris again, because I feel like they did a good job, and then you just put Richter in the solo lane. And Iggy has to go down as like the favorite EU migrant pick. just always
Well-
neggy when they go to NA.
Really good combos. Choke points for Italy is tremendous for Canada here. It's going to be so horrible for Canada to play on choke points with the Iggy, the Richter, and the Zarus. And then the enemy team answers with the Wraith, which I would assume is mid lane just to bully the Iggy. That's basically it. And Wraith is obviously a good pick, but I think he's going to get bullied by the Zarus, if nothing at all.
Might see some early
definitely.
rotations there. That could be the case that we have. So keep an eye to that mid. That might just decide the pace of this battle, especially when it comes to Conte leading the charge here. It's all on your shoulders, buddy. Dark Dodo said it themselves. Will you heed their words, or will you unfortunately fall down out of the bracket? Only one way to find out here. Guys, before we go on to the casters, 3 words or less. Who takes it?
I like Canada.
I like Italy.
We are a split desk. Let's see if we can split the difference here. Casters, F6, TJ, DJ, bring it on.
It will be our pleasure, Dilo. Welcome to the Flannel Friends casting desk here for game number 2 between Italy and Canada. And honestly, F6, I mean, especially coming off the back of a 37-minute game.
Yeah,
I think the prevailing difference from what we took out of that one was that, hey, this maybe wasn't solved in draft, it was just in how this plays. So I'm not really that surprised to see just some micro adjustments from both teams.
I mean, I'm the first one to tell you the game always starts in draft, but I don't think it's pretty much all their loss. I think about 10 to 15% of the match is through that draft, and that's what we're seeing here. But you guys also consider the draft is all about how the team plans on playing. There's always going to be pros and cons to different drafts. There's going to be some counters. There's going to be anything that you can do to try and stop it, right? That's why the draft is there. But it comes down to who can execute their game plan the best. Yes, they're going to have a hard time with choke points with Team Canada, but Team Italy playing against Ping, like you said, it's not an excuse. But at the same time, you got to understand that it is there. You're going to play with a Richter and a Decker and a Drongo. It's going to be pretty hard. The Iggy and the Zarus, they kind of just needs to be close range or just press button that's lock on to be really good and to deal with that ping. But on the other end, though, that other factor, like the Richter is really their strong suit into these fights. And if he's not able to land these hooks, it's going to be a real rough time.
Hey, I mean, Dilo said it best, right? That's this lag, this ping that you need to overcome is a challenge. And honestly, taking in 2 skill shots as your first and second picks, that's certainly a way to say that you are going to try and rise to that challenge for sure here. But as you say, there's going to be so much pressure on Conte to hit those hooks. I mean, we've seen those hooks being hit on EU ping, but now we're over on North American servers. Let's see how Team Italy can respond and rise up to the occasion. Maybe a bit of a word though, F6, talk to me about Team Canada. It looks like we've gone for the double ADC, and I was thinking, hang on a minute, is that a off-lane Grim with a steel support, but steel mid, but it looks like there's just going to be a bit of a role change. Blub's taking a Grim in the mid lane, and we got a Wraith over on that dual lane.
Yeah, we know Blub likes his Grim. We've seen him playing in the offlane a couple times through some PCCs as well. But he's just going to be playing it through mid here. Not a bad pickup at all. It still goes pretty well into the Iggy. They both have long range abilities to be able to poke each other out. That's a good matchup there. But it's really talking about the double ADC meta in itself. A lot of burst damage coming out of Grim and the Wraith if they're able to land any stun at all. We know Zinx has that ricochet, able to stun multiple people. As you can see, the damage it's doing over there for Capodani. And then now we're going to also have to talk about how they're going to be able to push that. Yes, they can't fight in those small corridors, but the fact that they still have that beef wall, you got the Rampage and you have this Steel. You've seen how Lauber was effective last game, and if he's able to do that again, it's just going to be an absolute mess for them. And now they have a little bit more damage, and 2 ADCs, they're going to be able to burst down these neutral objectives as they still play off of that game.
I'd really like that you highlighted the strengths of Team Italy when fighting in towards those narrow corridors. And I also love the fact that Team Canada said, you know what, we're going to take a Wraith who kind of laughs in the face of terrain with his not being able to go through walls. And then the GTFO from Blob that doesn't care about terrain in the slightest is going to go through all of the walls and all of the world to get to their targets as well. And also, you know what, we can create their own walls as well. Lauber, those steel, the shield wall placements as well being really clutch here. Again, I just have the question marks. I mean, looking at the left-hand side, for instance, Capo already being forced out. You can see a bit of that pressure, that the knock-knock, the oppressiveness of the Ray Fjorson on that Decker has got a lot of pressure on them just to get Capo through this laning phase.
And that's what they're going to have to run into. Zinx allowing them to have sustain inside that lane, and then the CC to help going off with that burst damage with the Wraith. Wraith on himself is just not the greatest early on, but if he's able to get somebody to stay still for a second, so any amount of CC in that lane, and he's able to hit both of his abilities, it's a lot of damage going through, especially early on when you don't have that much to heal from, not as much armor, not enough sustain to really get there. It's going to be a rough time. And that's really why I think that dual lane is pretty decent going in, but Appy Baker looking for something here over off and off lane.
Boulder Toss is going to go wide. Bull Rush still connects. Alfio, he doesn't have any mana. I have to expend his blink, but he's just trying to deal with Appy Picker. Has he done enough damage? Appy Picker down to 9 HP, but it's a HP and a dream. Appy Picker stays alive, and the tower dive, not the cleanest, but it's a first blood going away at Team Canada.
All you need is 1 HP and a dream, and he had 9 reasons to keep living. This does constitute 4 and 5 camp invade due to the fact that Rampage showed on that side of the map, showing that he had to back with the lost health that he had in that engagement. But with that engagement, they pick up first blood, and Team Canada off to a good start.
And it just seems to be that game plan coming through. That synergy, Appy Picker and Lorber coming through again. And also just to pull off a tower dive as well. I mean, granted, the Boulder Toss did go wide. Appy, we did kind of see that one. But Conte trying to get a bit of a response, knowing Appy Picker had to reset. So was able to get at least one of these minion camps away from Appy Picker's jungle. Just maybe taking a little paper cuts here, but death by 1,000 cuts is still a possibility, I suppose. Gold buff being taken. I think that was secured by Capo de Capi as well. Conte's got to be careful. Appy Picker just trying to hold off on this river buff. That does go the way of Appy Picker. Good sidestep from Conte, able to get away. More jockeying for position here, but we're not seeing the Conte gank just yet. I mean, the Richter has have a bit of a slower start, as we know.
Start, but look at the side of the Team Canada dual lane. Lakenator and Toasty still applying that damage. This now allows for Appy Picker to contest this 4 camp, and the reason is because they have so much pressure. But look at the damage.
Conte's got to be careful. Appy Picker is causing so many problems. This is now his jungle, and with Toasty joining the rotation as well, they have completely chased out Team Italy away from their own blue side jungle. Capo just having to weather the storm, having to dodge, dug, dip, and dive his way out of those knock-knocks. And Team Canada playing on this macro game, immediately recognizing the advantage. Starting with the first Fangtooth, this will go their way, easy as you like.
Oh my goodness, the solo bolo as we were speaking over in the offlane. Lauer, known for his single dingles, able to get 1 up, and that's a first Fangtooth going towards Team Canada. But like we said before, it's about playing what you have. Team Canada able to apply that there. They're able to force out the dual lane to back up into their tier 1, which allowed Appy Picker to get some pressure over to that 4 camp. And the fact that he stole a couple minions, hit level 5 off of it, got that level up on Conte, allowed for him to take control over that blue side. And once Canada took control over that blue side, Fangtooth up, free pickings.
So that is what you can say about Team Canada in game number 1, is that yes, they were taking all the neutrals, but they were falling behind on the kills. They were getting picked off by rotations here, but now they're taking neutrals. They're now taking the kills as well. Everything is kind of looking good for them. Conte, first gank of the game, is just not able to get the Riplash connecting on towards Blob. Kind of breaks his ankles a little bit with that sidestep. First gank not going to also result in a blink being burned either. Just a bit of a grouping up here, but Team Canada back into their jungle, just playing this one safely, and they know that there is no Fangtooth available to take.
Not at all. The next objective is that mini prime just spawned in 15 seconds ago. We saw the 4-man rotation over to that left river buff there, and still Grim's able to get the opposite side one, so he really hasn't fallen behind in mid at all. Blub still playing potentially well here, and when he starts to rotate into this game, I'll see a little bit more rotation coming out of Blub to really start to impact these maps. Last game, we did see that there were times where he was mispositioned. I'm hoping this game he's allowed to read those mistakes from last game and be like, yeah, we won, but at the same time, there's things that I can do better. And if they can do that, I think this game for Team Canada is going to go even better than it did for game number 1.
I mean, having that late game team fight win, kind of the hashtag get DLAB kind of win condition is great and all, but you got to kind of endure 32 minutes of Predecessor to even get to that point here, at least. So, you know, that's one thing you can say about Team Canada as well, is for them to be a little bit more proactive in the early game. At least, don't get me wrong, it's nice to have that in your back pocket, but honestly, it's not really the most solid win condition to play for every single game. Because honestly, as much as I love casting this game, 3 games of 40 minutes, that might just do my vocal cords in, if I'm being honest.
I cannot agree more. I mean, you can already hear my voice going as it is. There's been a lot of games cast today, but look at this trade coming out. Capo got caught on vision there. Lakenator still being able to poke away even when he's alone inside this lane. And what we're seeing right now is Lakenator starting to get himself fed. We're seeing the damage. We're seeing him be confident inside this lane. And that's when you see Lakenator start to play a little bit more aggressive. Naturally, he kind of plays and waits for his time to shine, like into the late game we saw in game number 1. But here we're seeing that confidence.
Peekaboo and Knock Knock starting to connect. The set back is going to set back Capo to Cappy all the way back to his base as the dual lane pounce from Team Canada. Fjorson gets to safety, but Capo on that Drongo is going to be donezo back towards his spawn. But even on the right hand side, it's going to be Alfieri taken out. El Diablo Blob says GTF out of here. 4 kills for Team Canada. They're starting to run riot.
And they're not done yet. Look at this mid lane, able to get the Chi-Chi sale. Oh my goodness, is it going to be enough? No, the GTFO is not there, but look at Blob. He's confident with the blink. One more auto. Can he do it? He cleans it on up.
But now Conte is here. Still, Blob has to get away. But all the CC from the boulder tosser. Conte has to blink away. Riplash from Conte under the tower. But it just pulls him into his own death. And now Capo is here. Full HP, full mana, and full of rage as well.
No
the Team
way.
Canada are the ones who run away. Alfieri blinks forward, trying to find a Spear of Near, trying to find an execute. But Canada got too much distance. There's the Colosseum. It locks down on towards Blob. And they finally take down this fridge. But it cost them so much to get that pick.
Blob with the dub, picking up those kills, being aggressive with the blink. We know he has an aggressive playstyle, but look at this here. Tosi and Lake, we know that Rejuvenate is not back on up to be able to revive on somebody else, and they need to be careful. But the fact that Lake and Tosi are so confident is because how this game has been going inside of that dual lane. But I mean, hey, Italy put themselves back on the board here, rotating towards that fight.
I mean, they did have to throw everything and the kitchen sink, but you know, if you have to take down another kitchen appliance, sometimes you need another one to kind of overpower it for sure here. Fjorson, though, might be a bit overpowered by Lakenator, but can't connect that killing blow. Fjorson will live to fight another day. Conte is here. Fjorson, Lakenator blinks onto Fjorson, and it looks like he's able to escape through the tower in towards the blue side jungle, but he is deep behind enemy lines. He has got a blast flower. Lakenator just trying to go for the execute here. The minions might be able to take him down. 76 HP, still more than 0. Still enough to channel a recall. Lakenator is able to get away. Alfieri is in trouble. There's the shield slam. And then maybe the solo bolo. He needs a blink to get him. And Lorma puts him on the board. 8 kills to 1. Team Canada, what more can they get as they start up the Fangbooth?
Godse and Capo are here. Dark Dodo for the rotation. Not a lot. And there goes that second base. Oh, no! Stolen!
But what about this? The Impale locks him in place. Conte will go down. Dark Dodo is here getting some damage on towards that Zings, but Lakenator fresh from base. The ricochet onto 3 members shooting fish in a barrel as these double ADCs. Conte gets the steal, but Canada's going to steal Italy's hearts. 4 kills on the Fangtooth pit.
What a great steal, but they were not able to get out of that pit. Team Canada said, you know what, that hurt my soul. You can have the objective, but we're gonna take your lives away. And now they're just able to put this pressure on. This T1 inside the dual lane is going down here shortly. And with that, the kill lead is now at 9. And I mean, right now, Canada is playing exceptionally well. A little bit of a tough fight there at that Fangtooth. Conte coming in with that steal. The fastest Smite in the West, apparently, is what I've been told.
Fastest Smite in the West on ping as well. That's what you have to marvel here, but unfortunately, it's just a small victory here. But Conte's just trying to get the kill on towards a blob, and Dodo throws the molly and is able to get that kill on towards the Grim. It's a little bit of a climb back in towards this game. So much going away from them, but now Italy, if there's one time to turn it around, you've got the steal, you've got the momentum. It's just got to translate that in towards the gameplay, but Canada are still firmly in control of this game.
I couldn't agree with you more there, Toasty. Ricochet and the stasis ball is going to miss there, so no CC lockdown, no trades to potentially go there. But Meteor Prime is slowly but surely getting back up on the stage. Something I want to highlight is Lauber in the solo lane. Zars cannot keep up. Lafayette just does not have it in him. The Swedish warrior is striking again, unstoppable, does not care about T2s or anything, as he's just so confident inside this role, inside this off lane.
And also for the fact, I think Italy know about it as well. Conte has not been over here at all. There hasn't been any rotation from Dark Dodo towards this right-hand side. It has been completely consigned to the grave here, and Alfieri has just got to hold on to his towers as long as possible. But Lorber on that steel pit, there is a reason this man has been considered one of the best offlaners we have in Predecessor right now, and he's currently playing absolutely lights out for Team Canada. Conte fishing for a hook in the river, not going to find a pick on towards Blob, who had already made a big move away from it. Mini Prime secured very easily for the side of Team Canada, also the freedom to give it away. It looks like Lorber was the one who secures it, just to make Alfieri's life a little bit more miserable in that right-hand side.
As we now see Conte looking for something, Skewer does hit, but the Liberator is a pop, and the hook is going to be offline as we see 3 members of Team Canada as they push towards this mid. Dodo fighting for his life to survive here.
He has at least got the wave clear. That tier 1 tower still standing 15 minutes into the game, but with how Team Canada are starting to play, how they're starting to group up and move around this map, these structures are not going to last too long. Speaking of the Devil, tier 2 tower, definitely been feeling better, and that brick is going to fall. Lorber taking it down, isolated as well. Has only had the 1 gank from Appy, and that's all he has needed. Fjorson having to respectfully blink away from Lake and Toasty. That setback would have been a death sentence, but now Italy have got a massive problem on their hands. They need to deal with Lorber F6, but the problem is they've got other fires, and Conte is trying to deal with the dual lane here. Let's see what they can do. Conte waddles forward. He does have his impale available. There's a blink from Toasty. Maybe looking towards Lakenator. Got to deal with that Neuroregenesis as the setback. He's able to throw Conte back. There's the blink. Maybe looking for the kill, and he's able to take down Lakenator. Neuroregenesis not available. Toasty's got no mana to use it. It's a good punish by Italy, but they're still losing on the right-hand side. Blub helping out with that push on towards the inhibitor.
Yeah, they still have to deal with Lauber. He's just pushing towards the inhib. I mean, if Dodo didn't rotate there, that would have been a possible loss of an inhib so early on into the game. But this now allows, he still has the mini or prime. He's going to push down this tier 1, and Dodo, I think, is going to have a hard time, especially when the full team rotates in.
Ooh, Capo to Cappy. He's trying to get away from Appy Picker, who just pops that Razorback, reflects the damage back, and Capo takes himself out. Why are you hitting yourself? Stop hitting yourself, says Appy Picker. Just one happy to get himself a kill credits. 13 kills to 6 here. Neutral objectives are going to be spawning soon, and Conte can't afford to be picked out. Good stasis bomb from Fjorson. It's enough to get Conte back alive. He'll be able to reset and come back for this next Fangtooth fight, but he's got to be quick here because Appy Picker is already there. He's already got the timer and already swinging onto thin air where a Fangtooth is about to spawn. Team Canada got to start up immediately.
And it's going to get immediately deleted as the HP is gone. Wow. That is the second Fangtooth going towards Team Canada. Conte not nearby to steal this one, as Team Canada, as you can see, that double ADC comp like we were talking about, bringing it back towards the early game. You asked me, what are the pros of this? And you're seeing it here as now they dive on in with the shield slam and the double trouble hits, and still Lauber has the mini or prime.
Oh my man, he's just taking names. He just came through the blue side jungle. There's no wards available for Team Italy to know that play was gonna have it. Literally came out of left field for them. And this is just how Team Canada are able to play with such freedom, such confidence to move around this. Anywhere of this map is available to them as long as Lorba is leading that charge. Italy just trying to fight over the scraps of jungle that Team Canada have been benevolent enough to leave for them.
I mean, I can't tell you about how this beefy wall is just running at you is so scary. It's not that just it's hard to kill them, but the commotion that they cause because there's so much CC going on. You're trying to escape the rock, and then you get hit with a shield slam. You're trying to escape the bull rush, and then all of a sudden you just get rewounded back into the abyss or the ricochet stun lands. It's just too much to handle. No Liberator, no CC cleanse going to be able to stop all that from going off. And they're taking pretty much use of everything that they have on Team Canada. Lobber being able to win that solo lane, now pushing towards the mid inside towards the duo lane. Italy, they have to fight to come back here. They need to get a pick off. They need to start grouping up, get the capo inside those team fights, get Iggy near there, and use that Zara's Coliseum to maybe lock down some of these members that really don't have a lot of mobility.
For Italy fans in the Twitch chat right now, you're hoping for another twist, another steal, another maybe another moment, another pick, just something to give signs of life for Team Italy. But with how Team Canada are playing, they're just snuffing out every opportunity that Italy have. Once again, Conte is going to look towards the left-hand side. Lakenator able to use that stealth to give himself the distance, and Conte misses with the Riplash. Capo is not missing these hands, though. It takes 2 shots. Conte hits the Impale, trying to turn the fight on its head, but Lorba's coming from behind. Lorba wants to get the kill. Lorba wants to save Lakenator. Conte misses that Riplash. Capo has got to deal with Lorba, starts to reflect that damage back, and Lakenator's taken out Conte. Lakenator with the outplay on the jungler for Team Italy. Fjorson is now left on his lonesome in between 3 members, and Lakenator says thank you very much. It's a double kill for the Team Canada talisman.
3 members down, Italy. Oh my goodness. They tried to make a play twice there, but the damage coming out of Lakenator's unreal. And now Alfier is going to be in some trouble. Forces the blink and is going to have to try and get out of dodge. But this is what I'm talking about. You do not want this Van Lobber to be able to freely rotate. And like I said, any offlaner that you kind of recommend to be in the top offlaners is going to win their lane and is going to use that advantage to help their team win, even if they're already winning in the first place. And that is what you're seeing again. You saw it in game 1. You're seeing it even more here in game number 2 because he's such a dominant force for this team.
I think a wise man once said, good teams get leads, great teams keep them. And that's exactly what Team Canada has done. Whenever they've got the lead, they have never let up the pressure. Lorba has never stopped ulting this backline as much as he can. Alfieri, once again, dealing with this steal, and it's just too much to handle as Lakenator gets yet another kill. The peekaboo hits onto Conte. The blinks forward as well. Fjorson drops. Lorba still in the middle of it all, leading the charge. Dark Dodo goes into Epoch, strike the pose, but a statue that's going to crumble. Lakenator's got himself a double kill. Might even go to a triple, but Toasty's going to deny any potential penta here. Briss maybe the setback on towards Conte. He's going to go down. Blood wants to get in on the action. Team Italy are down. Team Canada find a full RGS ace in the mid lane.
Did you see what Lobber was doing? I don't think this man has an S key on his keyboard for this game because all he did was run at the enemy team non-stop. And what do you want behind a big beefy steal? 2 ADCs just piling on damage and another big beefy front line just going towards that back line. And they executed that perfectly. In your own red side jungle, you tried to take a fight that you know you cannot win. And they proved themselves here, Canada, that they are right now just being the better team.
Doesn't have an S key, doesn't have an L key as it turns out. It's only W's here, and definitely need to check on that keyboard if he still has a W key left after this one, because that has been pressed through the keyboard, through the desk, and probably through about 4 floors down in towards the earth as well. Anywhere Lorba goes, death is going to follow here. El Diablo, Blob, I just want to bother, but of course, he had a blink available, and that's going to be the Grim.exe getting to safety. Now, Conte and Alfieri grouping up in the mid lane, just trying to force anything here. There's the Colosseum, there's the stat, there's the stun in Pale, and it looks like they're going to try and pick him off. The Neuroregenesis comes in. Conte bites the dust, and finally the Grim falls, but it costs 2 members, and now Happy Picker is happy. He's angry, he's mean, and his lean, mean Behemoth machine is hunting and hitting on towards into this backline. Lorba swings from behind, gets the flank, takes out Fjorson, and now Dark Dodo will be finished off by Toasty and by Lakenator. There's the spray, there is the ending, and Team Canada with the minion waves gonna start to break open this base.
I think the national anthem starts off with "Oh Canada," as we sit here and say, "Oh Canada, why are you doing this to Italy?" As they are taking the home field advantage seriously. They are saying, "Hey, we won on AU. We're coming here for NA to secure this match. There's no game 3 because we're going to finish it in game number 2."
Well, that's certainly what the writing on the wall is. Lorba once again goes up, crashes down. Conte's out of this fight, but Lorba will be picked off, though. That is a bit of a shutdown going the way of Capo, but it might be a little bit too little. It might be too late because the minions are on the core. The inhibitor drops in the mid lane. Inhibitor already fallen on the right-hand side. Alfieri has had such a rough game, but he's back to the spawn, back to going on to his ult tab, and then a final shot from Lake. Knock. Who's there? Not Fjorson anymore. He's out of this one. The core is going to be the next target. The base is in tatters and inferno everywhere. And Team Canada looks like they're going to secure their spot in tomorrow's semifinals.
Just not quite over yet. We're just waiting for her to really sing. As we now see the behemoth pop, there's nobody to really defend as they're taking this fight. And it looks like they want to end it right here, right now.
Epoch comes out, Dark Dodo keeping himself alive, but Conte definitely has felt better days here as Lakenator takes another name on towards the mid laner for Italy. It was such a good run going through groups, surprising everyone. Maybe this is the end here. Alfieri, the Colosseum, locks down on towards Lakenator, looking for the shutdown. Capo gets it. That's Lakenator dropping. Toasty might have also falling as well. Capo with the double kill. The minions have something to say, though. They take out Capo the Cappy, and they have something to say about that. Laura shield slam enough to keep Blob alive with the shield wall blocking so many projectiles, and a displacement orb says to this decker, get out of my game, as the minions are finally gonna finish this one off. What a series, what a game. A GG, well played. Canada are going to tomorrow's semis.
They've done it. They've achieved it. But man, what was that clown music playing there at the end? Team Canada almost lost it. Looks like Team Italy might have had a little bit of resurgence, possibly trying to get themselves back.
We can edit that one out, Six. We can edit that one out in post. It's fine.
Yeah. Hopefully that we can. But hey, like you said, GG's all around to Team Canada and Italy. Canada came here to play today and make a statement and said group stages were different. We're here for that prize.
It's such a commanding victory as well, taking the 2-0 win against Italy. But honestly, I don't think there's any shame in that loss for Team Italy as well. They got so many fans as well from their run through the group stage, topping their groups when no one expects them to do so, and putting up a pretty good fight as well against Canada. But on this day, it wasn't enough, and Team Canada are your team that go in towards tomorrow's semi-finals. They have got to meet current Nations League champions in France in their semi-final matchup, and wow. What else is there to say? But what a series, what a game of Predecessor we have just watched. I enjoyed that one.
Oh, no, it was a great match all around. I mean, for me, I think Lauber just played exceptionally well. This is another game where the offlaner just kind of took control. We saw it in France with Morose just being able to take control of his lane and then pushing that towards the rest of the map. We saw that through Lauber once again there. I mean, for the second game, they didn't need to really save anything. The rest of the lanes were winning, but the fact that he was able to do that kind of just secured Canada's confidence, secured Canada's win in today's game number 2.
And that is going to do it from our coverage here from the Flannel Friends casting desk. What a pleasure it has been. And for the final time on this broadcast, it's back to Dilo for the post-set breakdown.
Thank you, Flannel Friends. Ending that with a flourish. Lovely to have your casting talents added to the roster. Guys, I mean, we talked about history before. Axis powers have been defeated. Germany and Italy both fall. It's all just as you might see play out in a storybook. I don't think Conte can ever watch a Despicable Me movie again because the Minions, bro. The Minions came from. Excellent work on the part. Canada takes you too. Walk with you, guys.
Okay, that game from Canada was just beautiful. I really liked how the rotations early, how they actually capitalized on all the small advantages they had to actually gain a solid advantage that they just expanded over the course of that game. Italy never got really a handle on the game until like maybe there when they started to get some kills towards the end, but by then it was already too far gone.
Yeah, well, Italy did have a plan, but they just couldn't execute it as good enough as well. The Canada, well, to summarize this, honestly, Canada just came in with a force that they could not just withstand how much skirmishes the Canada team were throwing at them. And a playstyle was too much, I feel, especially on ping as well.
America, America. God shed her grace on thee. Canada and the U.S. both moving on. If people say that Canada's got a reputation for being all passive, I think they've completely reversed the stereotype now. What do you say about those numbers, eh? Excellent work as we now see the bracket for tomorrow. England stepping up against the U.S. Holy crap, it's the colonizers versus the colonies. This is crazy. Look at this, man. Don't you love it when a plan comes together? Totally not scripted, by the way. Totally not planned with those wheel runs whatsoever. Right, Lillaby? Yeah, totally. This is interesting to see, guys. All right, noting this, looking at the bracket, any words of wisdom or warning for anyone who needs to step up against Canada next?
Oh, I think that Canada-France game is going to be a real banger, and Monroe's has been performing so well. That's going to be two titans of the offlane like really going at it in Malawi, and that's just going to be a joy to watch.
Well, I mean, both games are pretty interesting to watch, but both games are gonna be coin flips that we'll have to roll for the regions. But it's gonna be really coming down to EU playstyle versus NA playstyle. While I think both teams, individuals, will be able to play on the ping, so it will be interesting to see if they can both adapt to each other's playstyle and actually bring their top game, so we can see which is really the best, like we're just gonna run at you and fight whenever we can, or the more methodical way is the way to play the game. I think this might be the ultimate proof.
Oh yeah,
it's the ultimate showdown, man. England versus USA, Canada versus France. One side looking to battle for independence, the other continuing their imperial conquests. But until tomorrow, that fateful day, that is all we have here for you today for Predecessor Nations League 2. I've been Dilo, joined here by the desk talents of Kant and Ragnarok. You've heard the lovely sultry casting voices of F6, TJ DJ, and earlier Dr. Shadow. Almighty Eye in the Sky, Lillaby, helping everything happen behind the curtain. Please make sure to drop some thanks for our production team. We could not do without them, whether it be you're seeing us on the screen, hearing their voices, or not seeing them at all. Everyone is essential. And lastly, but not leastly, thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time. We hope you've enjoyed these series just as much as we have. Keep an eye to the sky for more Predecessor Nations League content tomorrow. Same time, same place. We'll all be here ready for more action. And with that, good games and good night.
Only one left. France is pushing towards this core. They're playing on their absolute mind.
J-Boys getting zoned by Panda, and they pick up another one. And with 10 seconds left, no members around, Team France is going to be your first Nations League champion, and they come out and they end this game with a dominant score.
Bring it on.
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 Bring it on. Bring it on.
Bring it on, boys. Let's have it.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Central America is coming for you, baby.